just when you thought it was safe. At the very moment you thought it was over. It wasn't.
Hey, welcome to the Spark of Madness podcast.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm Matt. That's Aaron over there. Ben's not here, but we have a really special guest returning for Spook of Madness, Wesley Aaron Roth.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm really happy to be
buddy.
back. Thank you for bringing me back.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I was actually lucky enough to see this movie with the very same friend I saw the original with. So
that's pretty good.
Felt pretty special.
Was it a very, very special friend?
A very, very special friend. Yeah, a friend of the program named Zach Stonerock. Shout out to Zach Stonerock. Whoa. What do we got going on over there?
This is a little Halloween stuff.
Oh, I'm on.
He hasn't said a word for 40 years, so I'm going to be interested in what he has to say.
Yeah. He's seen 50 clinical psychologists. They can't figure him out. It's pretty damn funny. All right.
Oh, bravo, Ben.
Well done. Spinning. I think we need some more grunting. Some like heavy like.
That's what he would do.
We made it. Hey, Aaron, go back to you. I'm gonna mess with his camera for a second.
Okay. You're gonna mess with the camera? Whoa. Beautiful. Except with the green screen is cut off, but that's fine.
It's all worth it for this costume.
Oh my God. You really went all out with that gas station uniform.
He's gonna yeah. All right. So this is Spook of Madness number 2. We're at the end of the month. This is the last movie we pre-selected.
He's got the headphones on.
The last movie we pre-selected. Wesley was on our very first one. That was The Others. This is the first one we're doing. That's a brand new movie, right?
Yeah, we haven't done a brand new movie in a while.
Yeah, so we did a lot of older ones, and then this one is obviously just came out last weekend, and so Halloween 2018, which is a sequel.
Yes,
a sequel that's like.
It is the sequel.
That destroys everything in between since the original.
It's a requel.
A requel? Yeah.
A requel, yeah.
Can you make sure that term doesn't catch on?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is what it is.
Perfect.
A requel.
He's still in character.
He's still there. I love it. I love the commitment. It's going to be a very agreeable podcast.
Waiting on that Oscar.
So what we normally do if you're new or just tuning in for us is we'll talk about a movie or several movies. In this case, really just one, although I'm sure we'll talk about some of the...
Yeah, last year we did 4 Draculas at once.
Yeah, that's right. But we'll talk about it, and at the end we'll give you our recommendation and how we would rate the movie out of 10. But if you're listening right now, and I'll post in the chat, we're doing a vote for our movie next week. That is between 4 options. It is between Babadook, The Shining, Beetlejuice, and Ernest Scared Stupid. Scared Stupid, whatever.
Stupid Scared.
Yeah, and Ernest is running away with the vote. But if you vote and post...
Make your voice heard.
If you comment in the chat with one of those 4 movies, it counts as 3 votes. And by the end of it, we'll hopefully have Ernest not be our movie for next week.
I'm sorry, Matt. The Babadook campaign was too smart to win.
Oh, God. I'm so depressed about this. I can't even tell you. So yeah, let's talk about Halloween. Wesley, as our guest, why don't you set us up? I'm just going to go right off the bat.
Synopsis?
This is all spoilers, obviously. So
Okay.
give like a synopsis, but also kind of how it ties with the original.
Gotcha. 40 years to the day after the babysitter murders, Haddonfield's own Michael Myers escaped while being transferred from his sanitarium to a maximum security prison. Once again, camouflaged by the festivities of Halloween night, he wreaks havoc through his hometown, ultimately to once again meet the only one that got away, Laurie Strode.
Chills. Did you read off of Wikipedia?
No, I wrote that. Really.
Wow.
Yeah, you do the most prep
He's
work
on
for
it.
our synopsis. It's amazing.
Okay, I was about to get mad, but until you added synopsis. Excuse me.
Give me that knife, Ben. Okay.
Ben, do you have anything to add? Say something. It's a good thing my system can pick that up.
We're gonna have to just start filling this with actual conversation in a minute. All right, so
Ben, what'd you think of the movie? One knife up.
yeah,
One knife out of knife.
Are you saying it's on the cutting edge?
bam. All right, so Halloween. So they really queue it up 40 years later. It does this, I guess, expected flow, but the difference this time around is that Laurie, Jamie Lee Curtis, has been preparing for this and preparing her family for this for 40 years, and everyone thinks she's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know why.
But they did. I think that's an interesting place to start. Is that they very openly acknowledge that like he only killed 5 people. Like they're trying to downplay it as if it's not as bad as other things that are happening.
It was a you had to be there sort of situation.
I guess so. Wesley, what did you think of that, or especially in terms of how they queue up like a slasher movie about like the most famous slasher, cue Ben, the most famous slasher ever, murderous with blood in his eyes, as like just a overrated or overplayed, I guess.
I liked it. It works on, sort of on 2 levels. It's not really 2, but I like that in movies because I kind of call it like the House syndrome, where every episode of House you're like, well, he's crazy. It's
He's
like, well,
wrong this
right.
time for sure.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah, so it's like she went through this, but yeah, she's crazy. It should, like, you've got every doctor in the world that has been around this guy being like, oh, this guy's pure unadulterated evil, but
This guy's a jerk.
It works in the sense that like it sets you up for why people would make the choices they make.
That's
true. If you're not afraid,
Yeah.
like, because the number one complaint in things like this is like, if you knew a psychopathic serial killer was out, why are you out trick or treating? But if you have a whole town that's like, it's really not a big deal. Then
This is like that Norm Macdonald joke where he's like, oh, he's a real jerk.
Well, and they did in a callback. I've only seen the original, this movie, and then the Rob Zombie first Halloween, whichever number that one is. So I don't know all the things they do in the sequels.
Piece of crap that was.
But they called out a couple things where it was like Laurie's, it's a myth, it's an urban legend that she was
the boogeyman,
that she's related to him, which I think is kind of cool that they're almost playing up all of the in between as reason, to your point, reasons
Dallas
why
ending.
people are reasons why they're acting the way they are.
yeah, great.
You got to do the ending of Dallas. It's a good ending.
He's emerging.
I think he wants to breathe for real now. Oh no!
This is great for the listening
I have to go to the
podcast.
bathroom. Oh boy! Oh boy!
Then Jason's leaving.
Jason,
Jason,
you're
Michael's
fired.
leaving. I'm out.
I think
He's literally
That's
leaving.
why he killed you first.
Yeah.
I think he's not killing us because we're pure.
here.
That's something I would like to go into, actually.
Guys, what I miss?
Hey, Ben.
Ben's back. All
Ben
right.
made it. You were late.
Just got back from his shift at the gas station, apparently.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, I missed something there.
Hello.
Oh, I was late for the pod.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You made it. Well, that's a nice outfit you got there.
Oh, I got a new job. Auto mechanic.
Perfect. Now, where were we?
You were going to say something, Aaron, about something you liked, something about not being pure.
Oh, well, maybe it's for later in the discussion, but it's about Michael's motives during this movie and the first, and what possible.
Can I make a
explanations they
comment
could-
about the how they retconned everything?
Yes, we were just talking about that.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's hard to hear in a mask. I understand.
what are you talking about?
Oh, sorry. You're not Michael.
So in all of them, they've retconned it before. The second, or no, the third through the fourth, because
The third completely ignores Michael Myers.
The fourth through the H2O, they retconned it because she had a daughter that quote unquote turns into Michael Myers
Yeah,
or
that
whatever.
was really dumb.
And then he's like part of this cult, and he's like a demon and all this stuff. And then she actually gets killed in the H2O ones, which they retconned too. So
Perfect.
Yeah,
It was all a bad dream.
Yeah,
It's the Roseanne ending too.
yeah. So knowing that, I think I think this movie's better than I thought.
Simply for having that.
Well, I mean, they
it's
did.
just like if nothing was sacred then, so it's fine. And just by that, I think that's fine.
Well, even regardless, I think
They didn't.
this
cut
movie
anything
very
worthwhile.
much feels like the most authentic sequel to the original to me. Like it felt
Hands down.
tonally, visually.
But how can you say that, Matt, without watching the other ones?
I've seen the Rob Zombie one, so
That was a lot of work. Let me tell you.
Second, fourth, fifth, and sixth.
In rapid succession, I watched this one, the Rob Zombie, and the original, and
I've watched them all, and I did a recap of all of them. Someone was reviewing all of them, like just not reviewing, but give me the synopsis of all of them. I
well,
forgot.
okay. So here's this is going to lead into the point I was trying to make. When you guys, to start off though, when you think of the original Halloween, what comes to mind when you think of that movie? Just that's a very broad question, but like, what are some of the things that immediately you start to think of
the
about?
tracking shots.
The light, the way they did the light and the white of his face, where he's in the darkness, and they've done it in the second one too. They did a good job in the second one with that one too.
Not necessarily all at night though. In the first one though, too.
No, but
Yeah.
like the part where he's there and the way the cinematographer who in the first one, who was actually the cinematographer in Jurassic Park and Back to the Future, who shoots it realistically. That's how he got his big break. But he's never been used since.
It's a good choice because Carpenter does the same thing.
Well, Kubrick does the same thing too. Like he shoots realistically, and the lighting that is. But that movie was such a low budget. The fact that like he had to change the light, he did all the kind of stuff just to see a faint glow of his white face in there in the darkness. The tracking shot of in the very beginning when he kills his sister.
Yep.
There's the story behind that. If you listen, like they had it was a low budget film, and they had they only had one set of lights, and so they said if you listen to the actual soundtrack of that
There's
reel,
people shuffling around.
because they're moving lights as they're going to the tracking shot and setting up, and it's like that's brilliant.
I'll bet they had actors doing it too.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing I found out yesterday, and I don't know if it's true, but I read it in a blurb. But apparently, the actor who played Freddy Krueger was a production assistant for one day on Halloween before carrying trash bags of dead leaves. Throwing
Then he got
leaves.
fired.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, he just did it for one day. So
He got
there's-
fired because he was playing with power.
Yeah, that's he was
pretty
he's
good.
violating people's dreams.
Wesley, what comes to mind for you when you talk about the original?
That's actually kind of a tough question. I think it's one of the best slow burn movies. It's like the first time I saw it for the first time probably 10 years ago. I mean, I probably saw it when I was a kid, but I didn't remember it. But really sat down and watched it to appreciate it. And like, it didn't feel slow. It felt
Tense.
deliberate. Yeah,
Yeah.
deliberate. Like it was building, and like it was tightening. And I can understand now, like watching it again, when you know what's going on and you know where something's going to happen. It feels less tense, but it's still I don't know. Like that's to answer your question. I guess I compare most slow burn movies to this. Like, it doesn't do it as good as Halloween. It doesn't, it doesn't have that
template.
I guess when we
atmosphere.
talk about slasher movies, like to me, this is the one. This is the ground zero for all of anything that builds off of it. Really,
is Psycho. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, in terms of this, like this is
Halloween style,
very Halloween, very deliberately violent, creepy, stalker guy that goes even further than you expect.
And I think why the first one is so scary and why it got out of hand a little bit in the sequels and stuff, and why Jason is not as popular. I mean, he's popular, probably more popular, but why Jason's is not as scary and more campy is the fact that he's a real psycho. Like it could really happen.
Like this feels a little bit less supernatural or ridiculous.
And the first one wasn't so gory. It was just like there were some violent things that happened, but like that was scary too. Like I think sometimes when you go over the top with the gore, it has
an
realistic.
Inverse effect.
It does. It doesn't seem as realistic.
So
check out a little bit. Like I'm not as
The other thing about the first movie,
this one was borderline a little too much gore for me.
It went back and forth, yeah.
Aaron, what were you going to say about the first one?
The first movie is interesting to me because it's on its own. It's on paper, it's not a special movie. It's very plain, but the execution is what makes it.
Why do you think I'm plain?
That's actually a pretty good distinction. I kind of like that because it's not.
It's a solid
It's not anything
script
to write home about, really.
Yeah, it's no frills. There's no like hidden meanings anywhere that John Carpenter tried to throw in there.
It's just
a slasher movie, and I'm sure we could infer metaphor here.
That's exactly the point I want to make though about this movie and how the new movie and how it ties so well is that it is. I mean, the 2018, the one that just came out, has some stuff that we can talk about. That's kind of commentary, meta stuff, but it feels more. It feels less self-aware that it's supposed to be that sounds wrong, but it's more minimalist to your point. Like John Carpenter. Not trying to stuff all these like unique creative kills into it. Like they did so many different things in this movie that I felt mirrored the
Are you saying it's like poetry?
It's like it's like water.
The one shot when he's going in and out of the house is
man,
I thought that was great,
amazing.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't as scared, I wasn't as scared as when I first saw the first Halloween. And it's like last time I've been really scared was Heredity and Quiet Place.
Right, because they're artificially scaring you though. Like they're using things that aren't. Whereas in this movie, it's not scary. Well, it's not scary, but it's tense. Whereas in the other ones, it's like, pop, there's a thing creeping in the background that's not in real life.
But no,
this is a shot on somebody's window, and you literally watch.
A Quiet Place was tense.
Yeah, it was.
It was tense the whole time. Tense and scary.
Sure. Because it's still based off of the fear of something unreal. Whereas this is, let's look at a window, and you see somebody walk around to the back of your house, come inside, and murder you, and that is something that could literally happen.
It can, but also the unknown. The fear of the unknown is scarier than anything. Not knowing where Michael Myers is.
Too.
Well, but I think that works in horror is the unknown. And like Michael Myers, like, when they, I think it was kind of cool, but I didn't like it. But when they kept showing his like the back of his face and stuff, I just think I know that it worked, but like the less you show of that, the more scary. Like, what is this faceless man?
They wrote a fine line on that.
Yeah, and I think
they wanted to show his age a little bit.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool. And I thought about that because he was a little kid, then he was like in his 20s, and then he's 60s, and he's like, wow, he's still crazy and evil.
And like he's strong, man.
I'm bigger than Michael Myers.
You're bigger, but he showed it.
I wish I had a
like
wish I had a
lifting
trophy
people
for
off
you.
the ground, slamming them into walls and stuff.
That the whole scene with the girl in the bathroom was like, oh god.
Oof.
You know, I'm starting to think he could actually pull that water thing off the ground in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gee.
Yeah.
They had a cut.
And then the first words he would utter would be juicy
Was that
fruit.
a Loomis impersonator? Was that a Donald Pleasant
I
impersonator?
think so. Yeah, I was wondering that. Both
It didn't.
times.
It wasn't very good. Just use the real
I
stuff.
think they tried to
wasn't
make him
supposed
sound
to
like he
be
was
Loomis.
right on the. Yeah, well, as I said, my interview with Dr. Loomis in the tape. The tape.
There was the
recording.
tape of Dr.
That was
Loomis.
the actual Loomis on
That
tape.
was?
Yeah.
Okay.
This doctor was not named Loomis.
No. He's talking about the act. The voice was the voice actor.
voice actor. I don't think it was really him.
in the podcast.
Yeah.
I
in
thought
the
you meant
podcast
recording.
guys.
No,
yeah.
you meant
in
to, yeah.
No, and the old.
I know
they
Donald
were
Pleasant
playing
is
as
dead.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I wonder if
But
they used old footage.
I think they used a voice actor to make him sound older too.
He
I
was
thought it
pretty
was
old.
good
was-
enough.
It like he sounded like he was like sick or like debilitated.
I didn't think it wasn't the character.
You know what? Let's talk about Donald Pleasance. I think
He's great.
What was great is like he did all the other ones. He was the only returning character really through all the other ones, and like he loved it. Like he was like he Vincent priced it. You know, like and appreciated that role.
Spark of
All right,
Loomis.
we're done talking about it.
Well,
think you covered all your bases
I think that's
there.
an interesting. So one of the things that I thought was one of the things that I was kind
You
of
know oil
alluding,
change, Aaron?
No.
Sorry, go ahead. Man.
one of the things I was alluding to at the start about some of the things they were working in about how they were kind of downplaying the seriousness the seriousness of the events from the original movie 40 years ago was like the people they almost went out of their way to talk about in terms of pop culture and how like media coverage of characters like this that it's kind of sensationalized. People are so interested. Like there's podcasts around like serial killer. Like people are fascinated by this, and the doctor wants to protect his patient. And you called it. You and I saw it together. You were talking about.
That was so easy.
Remember
though.
how he was like, oh yeah, he clearly wants to protect his to study him some more.
Are we
like,
doing spoilers?
Well,
oh yeah,
Yeah,
I called
he said that from the
spoilers
beginning.
early. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I knew that doctor was gonna do something like what he did as early as the scene where they're in the rec yard.
yeah.
Because they're antagonizing Michael with the mask, and he's just like, no, let him go. Let him go.
You're right, and also like I knew it when he was in that one room with the curtains, and he started eating and chewing the curtain. Thank you.
Beautiful. I knew it when the shark came in. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
All right.
And the Fonz.
We've kind of been jumping around a whole bunch of stuff. What? Maybe let's pin down some of the handful of things that really stand out as like, let's say, really strong about this movie.
Pros, okay.
Yeah,
Pros.
yeah. Good things.
I liked the character inversions, as you said.
What does that mean?
Where the roles of the characters were reversed a little bit in Laurie and Michael.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah,
made
yeah,
some
yeah.
She
callbacks.
became
where
the
she-
hunter.
and she disappeared.
Yeah.
There was a
good
lot
part.
of those. Yeah, there were a bunch of those.
I called that. I like the cinematography. I
It
thought
was
shot
very
really
good.
well. I thought it was very
It
not
wasn't
over the
too
top.
much.
Yeah.
It was stylized more than the original movie, but it wasn't
Too much. And I love the shot of him walking around. Like that was my favorite sequence.
If you make a
Around the
Halloween
side of the
movie,
house.
you
The side
gotta
of the
have
house.
tracking shots.
And it's like so disturbing. He killed that lady like in cold blood, like and the baby was still there.
The reflection is great right there when he looks in on her and you just
Yeah.
see his face. I was like,
And,
ah.
and it
good.
was completely random too, wasn't it?
I think he was just looking around.
Yeah, and like
Yeah, it was
that
a
girl,
random kill.
that girl, the other girl who was on the phone, that was a random person. He just ended up in the Laurie Strode's niece's friend's house.
He had
right?
to go to a lot of houses. We didn't see that part.
Yeah, and that kid was funny, but I felt bad for her.
to bother you.
But I did think they did one thing really well, and this is the opposite of all the Friday the 13th. Is like even like the minor characters, they tried to make you care about everybody.
They
You
tried.
mean-
Yeah,
no, I did. They had depth to them. Depth to them.
I will say my favorite stuff in this and it didn't take me out of the movie. I'm curious if it took you guys out, but the little kid that she was babysitting,
Yeah, he's funny.
was amazing.
That's great.
I thought that was hysterical.
I thought that was funny.
Like kind of commenting, "You're gonna die, Dave." He just runs out of there.
It was kind of meta.
It was really good. I loved that.
Yeah,
it was so funny.
And I just hate that, like that girl getting killed. Like it worked, but it's just like it was an authentic. Like it was just
you don't like stuff.
Well,
like
I don't
that.
like that because it happened in that movie Split. I didn't like that either. Like, man, fuck. You know, I
what
just
about,
like innocent people getting killed. You know, but but like it worked.
That's
It
funny
needed
that
to be
you say
there.
that. It reminded me of the banana boat scene from Jaws. Was it Jaws
Oh, yeah.
2?
That's Jaws the
Where they take
Revenge.
the girl off the banana boat? Oh, was
That's
it?
Jaws the Revenge.
Dude, that scarred me for life, and
Well,
I
you know
got
what-
the same kind of feeling from
Yeah.
him killing her. The
You know
same,
what-
like, oh, why? Why?
Well, you know what's even more scarring than that? The girl who played the little girl who's also in All Dogs Go to Heaven. She's the voice of Anne
I
Marie.
hate this story.
Like a few years later, her dad murdered her and her mom and her sister and her brother, I think, and burned the house down.
think
And
this
she was
is-
really young, so that's disturbing too.
I think this is the second time you've brought that up.
Yeah, but
I need to
but
put
this
some
is-
happy
yeah.
music.
This is the time to do it.
Yeah.
Happy times. Happy times.
hamburgers,
cheeseburgers.
Oh my God.
Armand.
And I
we're
think
back.
Gotta touch
the
it,
thing
touch
the strongest thing for me probably, you guys are crazy.
Why
is
do you
the
say that?
score.
Yeah.
music, yeah,
Carpenter
Yeah,
came
the score
back.
was
Did he do it, or
Amazing.
someone else?
Carpenter
Yeah, he did it.
and a couple other people.
Oh, he did. So this has got his blessing all over. He didn't. I don't think. I don't think the Rob Zombie one had his blessing.
So Wesley, somebody in
well,
the,
it did. It more or less did. He told Rob Zombie to have fun with it.
somebody in the comments, Wesley, brought up how that was the first thing they thought of with the original movie, and now you're bringing it
Yeah.
up for this one. What
That's
kind
fair.
of tied?
I
What
think
kind
that's
of
fair.
what kind of tied it together? Made this so impactful for the new movie.
I think it fit with the movie to where they stripped it down like almost to the rafters, and so they didn't go over the top of the score either. It was just simple, effective,
Using
straightforward,
cues
with
from the
sort
first
of
movie.
a metaphor for himself,
Yeah.
for Michael
Yeah.
Myers. Just like
He might have
terrifying.
some new tricks here and there, but he's the same.
And they
And
did they did Michael Myers right. Like
He's
like,
the same size.
That's it.
He's
well,
not
I just
super
think he was
huge.
terrifying.
That's
He
the
was
big
scary,
takeaway for me
menacing.
too. I think I wrote down the words brutal a bunch of times, and I also
But
think
not like Rob Zombie brutal.
No,
Which
no,
is-
no.
What was?
It was
I never saw the Rob.
cartoonishly.
I never saw the Rob.
That was
Zombie
just
one.
You don't
like,
need
It's
to.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, it's
Well,
it
what
takes-
are you talking about?
They had
It would have
lots.
been better, or not better, but it seemed more. It took place in Haddonfield, Illinois, but it felt like Haddonfield, West Virginia.
Isn't it supposed to
Like-
be Haddonfield, New Jersey?
No, it's Illinois.
No, it's Illinois. But
Oh, you mean
Rob Zombie
Illinois.
is like white trash.
the thing
That's
about
all he knows.
This is
That's all I know.
this is why I kind of supported the scenes where they showed us his head and his face
Because it happens in the original.
because
too.
it makes him like a real person.
Yeah, in the
Like
original.
it makes him like it's like this is a human being.
It makes it
And
that
then
much
he-
harder to accept that he's pure evil.
Right. And he just goes out of his way and he's just horrible. And to the screenwriter's credit, which Danny McBride is involved with this, is just insane.
Really?
One of the writers, yeah.
He's one of the writers. They did so many. I think most of the scenes where he kills somebody, they scripted perfectly. But they had probably 3 or 4 scenes where it felt so claustrophobic and like you're stuck in this tight space with him.
Like
Like he
the
pops up in the
bathroom.
car. He's in the bathroom.
Oh, that kid! That
Like,
scene when he kills
he
a
kills
kid.
a kid.
Oh God,
Like,
yeah.
it's horrible, and you're always stuck in this tight space, and you don't know where he is. And they, to your point about the cinematography, it captures that.
And
Like he is just scary,
And I
you
love
don't know
that
where he
shot
is.
in the window. He just walks by in the corner. It's like that's smart filmmaking. You know, I thought it was good and but like you said, that the boyfriend didn't get his comeuppance.
I was mad about that.
Well, you know what was dumber than that? Making him an asshole in the first place.
agreed. Yeah,
That's a
It
trope.
didn't need to
that's a
happen.
trope.
That's tropey.
very
But
trope.
Well,
I did this.
That was the
he's
most
apparently
rushed
going to be
through.
the main character of the next one.
Oh, good. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Are you
and
serious?
His
Is that true?
his dad in the story is the bully who picks on Tommy.
Get out of here.
So
Are you serious?
Yeah, because that's
No.
the whole scene where he's like, "Yeah, your dad's
Oh.
Lonnie. he used to sell me
So
peyote.
Michael Myers not dead.
You can
No way.
Likely
Are
not.
you serious?
He's
not
gotten
dead. He's not
shot
dead.
like a million times. The guy, like, well, how's he?
Yeah.
How's he
You know
He's
what?
not dead.
I'm
Yeah.
out of this. I can't believe it anymore.
I'm not dead yet.
Whenever people shoot him, they always miss the vitals, and
I don't know. Like in like the sequel,
got
they
him
shoot
in
him
the
right in the
eye, man.
eyes.
Yeah. Well, didn't Judy Greer shoot him right in the eye?
She
I think
shot
the
him
neck.
like in the side of the face.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk
okay.
about that real quick. Let's talk about the whole family element.
Maybe his
and-
mask has got like a
Are we
Clint
moving
Eastwood
into cons
bulletproof
now,
vest.
that's a very leading statement, Wesley. Would you call it a con? What they did with Judy Greer and the whole family stuff?
I don't want to
The dad was
go
funny.
there until we go there. I'm just saying my list of cons is a lot longer than my list of pros.
Whoa!
Wow.
Holy
Yeah.
crap! All right,
My-
let's go there.
Well,
Let's do
I'll
it.
tell you my
We're already
list-
half hour in, so let's dive into it.
Let's do the cons versus the Kirks, which works for this.
Is the-
Yeah,
yes,
it is.
yes.
I appreciate that.
Because
Go on, Wesley.
What do you want to know?
Well,
I-
talk about the family, just because I had a lot of stuff about that too, and Judy Greer in particular.
it's a mixed bag to me. Like I thought the idea was great, but they didn't do enough with it. Like overall, and like this all ties together. So I'm trying to stay on topic, but like
stay on
they
topic.
spent way too much time with the teenagers. I think
Way too much.
way too much. The dance was way too much.
Kind
Cut
of
it out.
necessary.
I
But,
say cut
yeah,
the
give-
whole daughter character.
What about
I mean,
what about
I-
Marty and the
I like
kids?
I liked her, but I thought
She
was
didn't do
great.
anything.
Okay, time out.
She did nothing.
But the thing that drove me crazy is they did such great work, in my opinion, with the small characters dialogue, like hyper realism, which really sells you on their deaths.
What does that mean? Hyperrealism.
It's
Like
real,
they didn't
but
say,
in a hyper sense.
They didn't say like movie lines. Like the side characters said stuff that you would say.
I
whereas the
got to get
family-
me one of those.
It's the antithesis of the Rob Zombie version, you would say.
Well, it's the antithesis of what the family does, because the family, all of their dialogue, it's like, okay, so this is the first time you've ever talked about this. Like, you're gonna sum up 40 years in a sentence now. Like, you're gonna be like, I never told you about my childhood. It's like bullshit. Of course you did.
But they
Of
did.
course you told her about your childhood.
Well, yeah,
It's like-
it was very contrived and like manipulative that they're
dialogue
setting it
is
up to like. Of course, this is the first time.
Oh, it wasn't as bad as the Last Jedi's dialogue.
Oh, here we go. Wah, wah. I agree with you. I would say it was really hard until they got to the very end. That's where I would change.
Right,
I
yeah.
would
And then it
disagree
got-
with you.
yeah.
When it was like
No,
three,
I agree.
Three
I'm just talking about their
generations.
setup.
Sure.
I wish when she shot him in the face when he came back, smile, you son of a bitch. And he exploded.
That was a great. I thought that was
That
a
was
great line.
smart. She
That
was
was
like-
good.
she's like,
That was
"Gotcha."
good.
That I didn't
That was
expect, genuinely.
fantastic.
Yeah,
That was
I thought
perfect.
Judy Greer, the whole movie, I'm scribbling notes like she sucks, and then that line made up for everything
you-
because it was like,
couldn't
oh,
agree
they
more. Couldn't agree
perfectly
more.
set
Do
me
you,
up.
but do you think it's a good like? Because I love the ending of a Quiet Place when they show the monsters coming like I love that ending. So
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that callback. Nothing to do with anything.
But I think you're all right, and Aaron, you were talking about it too. That the daughter character felt kind of slapped in to fit.
What did she do?
I think it was more of like an age add-in. But yeah, it was like one too many layers of.
And how many
like,
times
stuff
did
and-
she say grandmother? Like that
Yeah.
drove me.
yeah,
Fucking nuts.
I'm so glad you said
touched
that.
a nerve. Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh my God, that was more scarier than the slashing. No, it's like hello,
grandmother.
Did you call grandmother?
Hello,
Yeah.
grandmother.
Nobody ever.
The only acceptable
you-
use was when she walks in and says, "I'm the grandmother," and I was like, "That's funny."
No. The only
that's
time
funny.
the only time you ever say grandmother is when you're talking to somebody else. Oh, my grandparents or my grandmother.
You talk about them like that when they're dead.
You don't talk about your mom. Hey, where's Grammy? Where's grandma?
Grandma.
Yeah.
Where's Grammars?
Where's grandmother?
Oh, grandmother.
Grandmother.
Oh, she screams,
Why are you
"Grandmother!"
taking me out to
in
the
house. I'm
woodshed?
like, what the hell?
What are you, Hansel and Gretel all of a sudden? But you know what though?
Call me Grammy.
She did look like a relative of Jamie Lee Curtis. She was like they looked similar, so she looked.
Casting was
I thought
fine.
she looked like Carrie Mulligan. I could not stop seeing.
Well,
Carrie
everybody
Mulligan.
gets a mulligan.
Yeah. Long story short, I say cut the character. It didn't add anything.
What would you have?
I think it worked. I think
they wanted that teenage
I like it.
vibe.
They wanted the teenage vibe to tie it to the original stuff.
I don't
but-
care about that.
I don't know. I liked it because it helped.
It's not tied to. It's not related to me.
It was interesting to the dynamic of the mother and daughter. Like it created.
We already get
a,
that with Lori and what's her face.
But it took away from the mother and daughter.
It created a bridge.
We didn't need any more rhyming in this
Well,
movie.
maybe she needed something more to do.
Maybe.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree she needed more to do.
Well, they did that
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, she
another
did get that.
another
I forgot
cool
I saw it.
callback shot was when she was in school and she looked out the window.
Yes, that
and she
was
was over
good.
there. I really like that.
That was the only
Lori's-
scene in which I didn't. I tolerated the youngest daughter.
I think it.
The dad was funny when he got like
The dad was pretty good.
he was pretty good.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He's folded in a. He died.
You know what? I'm gonna have a controversial opinion here, and it's gonna be funny coming from me. I thought
Not long enough.
no. Actually, the movie could have been about 20 minutes shorter.
It was pretty short.
It was like 2 hours.
I timed the previews. How long were the previews?
Yeah, you're right. It was like 25 minutes.
It was 20,
long.
like 25
Yeah,
minutes.
it was a lot of-
Anyway,
Mine were 32.
yeah, it's great. That's a long time for trailers. Now,
Why do they call them trailers when they come before the movie?
I can mute you.
They used to be after.
I have that power.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. You guys know me. I love humor. I didn't need that much in this movie. The humor was well done, but it was
Well, the kid. I think the kid was the most.
the kid was fine, but the movie with the humor, it felt like it shifted tone all the
What
time.
humor though?
Yep.
What
I
humor?
didn't think it shifted tone. I didn't
did.
think.
I thought it was-
Wesley's
it was
not.
oddly played.
Wesley's agreeing.
Oh, it didn't feel like Last Jedi.
No, it was not as bad as that.
No, I think Last Jedi. Like, that was a joke and a realistic comment. No, I didn't think it was like Last Jedi took you out of it, like with the humor. But this,
I'm not saying that it was horrible.
could you give an example?
What was the? Oh, now I got peanut butter on my penis.
Oh, yeah.
It's I thought some of the
with
humor.
the dad. With the
Yeah,
dad.
It just felt kind of forced. It was funny. I'm not saying I didn't
Yeah.
laugh. If
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I-
nitpick,
see, that one
'cause
didn't bother
hold on,
me.
hold on.
That
I'm
one-
with Wesley on this one. I have a lot of grievances, but I did love this movie.
What about
Yeah,
the feats of strength?
I loved them.
Okay.
I
But
hear
did
what
he have
you're
strength
saying,
of
Aaron,
feet?
But the thing that I liked that particular opening with the dad, like the whole thing, because it informed, not informed, I shouldn't say that. It showed a really cool contrast in his character. Sorry, I'm putting my hand in front of myself.
He knows jujitsu.
He knows jujitsu. But when he got serious, it was like, okay, like this is really, that
Like
was
I
one of
said,
the only,
it's
that was the
fine.
only like subdued implied that this has been happening for a long time, because all
Right.
the dialogue led to like, we've never talked about this ever until right now.
Right. I'm trying to nitpick because overall I love this movie.
But like,
And I gotta have
where
something
I
to
would
gripe
agree
about.
with you is that they placed things in weird spots, like the banh
The
mi
cops
sandwich
talking
part.
about their sandwiches,
Yeah, I liked that because that's what they would be talking
about their
about.
Vietnamese bread.
No, I think
But it was
I
in a
think-
weird spot.
I think that's what you would do on a stakeout.
That is what you would do,
you're
but
right.
did we need to
But,
see
like,
it?
Tonally, it feels weird because you just watched their
Yeah,
sheriff get murdered.
That's true, but I also think they try in a weird way with humor to make you like these characters. You know,
Like
They
to-
did, and
before
they
you
did a
die.
good job. I think those things
Care about
work
them a little
on
bit.
their own, but
Yeah.
the fact that of where they put them is to the detriment. So, like the can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because you guys are gone. on
No,
my
you've
screen.
been actually
So,
muted for the last 38 minutes.
Okay. Well, like you guys went disappeared, so I thought maybe I just lost.
We're
you on the
gone.
call.
We're gone?
Yeah,
I'm
like,
still
you guys-
here.
It's just black on my
Okay,
screen.
sorry.
I'm here.
I'll
but,
restart the camera for you.
But I think the one thing that like I would have changed about that particular scene is it could still be funny, but it would give it a little bit more stakes. Is I really do like the line where he says like that's what a 5-year-old would eat if he could make his own lunch.
Yeah.
If you change it to that's what my 5-year-old would make if I let him make his own lunch,
Yeah.
because then you're like, oh crap, this guy's got a 5-year-old.
I wasn't even thinking about
There
that.
you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'll add one
But-
more thing. The humor wasn't make or break for me. I just thought if I have to nitpick something, that would be the first thing.
The
I
thing,
will
Also, I
definitely
think
watch this movie
The
again
little
and
black
love
kid's
it.
the funniest kid ever, but
Yeah.
his humor went too deep into the scene.
Yeah, it was too meta.
It should
Yeah,
have.
it was too like,
well,
oh shit, and he runs away. I was like, oh come on. This is
Okay.
a
I
scary
loved it.
movie.
It
I
was-
loved it.
it was-
I loved it.
He represented
It was
the
perfect.
audience. He
It was
represented,
perfect.
like what you would
he
do.
was the
That was
audience in the
perfect.
movie. It
I-
was good.
He was in a Jason movie, is what I feel like.
Oh yeah,
That's not a bad. That's not a bad comment. I don't know. It worked okay.
it's
for
tough
me.
to hate it.
Yeah, it works until he watches her die, and then he's still cutting up. That's what
It makes
freaked
me
out.
sad because she was like they had a connection. I, mean, I get you. It was funny, but like it makes you feel like her death was meaningless.
It wasn't.
Exactly.
A little
If
bit.
you,
Yeah, and I thought, well, maybe they should have played that terrified kid like with his, like, and he had to go. Like that would have been if he was traumatized. I know it was funny, but maybe they didn't need that there. It was funny, but maybe like to me, I think when you have death and murder in anything, any movie, the less you dehumanize it and the more you make it really sit unsettling with you, I think that's what I think that is. I think it's vital for I think a filmmaker should do. I guess like Freddy versus Jason. We think that's funny, but even then, it's like I think. We were in this theater and there was a little girl next to us, and it's like they're so like it's like my mom would never let me see anything like this. I didn't see the first Halloween until like real late, and it's like it's frustrating because I think death and stories and murder and things like that, I think it should be treated with like consequences, because I
Great
do
respect.
think. Well, I really think that we dehumanize it and we're desensitized to it, and I think it's like to take someone's life is a big deal. And to me, like I got the effect of the movie because I've been raised properly, but I think half the people in there are like, oh yeah, getting killed.
Well, that's the whole Jason Friday the 13th side of it, but. Where you're like, haha, this is kind of fun to watch him kill people. I think
it was never fun to watch.
I think
kill
this
people.
movie is kind of very subtly pulling in the idea of superheroes, and it's turning into a hero versus villain story, like where she is like perfect gunshot. She's a genius and has all these traps in her house and all this stuff. She very much comes across as like very much an equal foe to what once was like an unstoppable force, but now it's like pure evil, pure good, and they're on equal footing, which is an interesting idea. But like,
you know what they should do? They should make a sequel with her, and it should be called Halloween 2 Thanksgiving. But go on. I'm
keep
sorry.
going.
No, I was really
Just
rude.
pulling
There.
it.
I was really rude.
Well, I think you're right though. Is that the pulse of this time and how we interpret violence is so different that now and what they did with this movie is they've turned her into. It's become like almost like a superhero movie. Like they're turning her into
a hero
character that can defeat this thing.
Well, Not necessarily.
Would you say she's unbreakable?
No, but
she's not necessarily a hero. She wanted him to escape so she could kill him.
She's Sigourney Weaver,
right? It's much more nuanced than a normal superhero movie. But like this isn't one of those where it's. And it's obviously it's building off of characters they established 40 years ago, but it's not it's not a slasher movie where it just mows down people and the one that's left standing happens to win. This is this person has prepared for it, and she's gonna like.
She had an arc from the first one to the second one, not kind of the one she got killed in, but the one where she was because John Carpenter was noted for saying how innocent she is and how how you were so worried about her in the whole movie, and now she's taking control of it. Now you're not as worried about her.
That's one way to look at it. Yeah,
which is good.
That's a good.
But it's no different than Sigourney Weaver and Aliens. Like it's you always have to have a protagonist in these. And
but in this it's a little bit different than like a high school kid cowering in a closet and trying to run away.
Yeah, but she's evolved. In the first Alien movie, she was scared to death of this. Like she was so tough. But in the second one, she's a Marine now, fighting it. You know what I mean? So like there's some arcs, and she's fighting a bigger one.
there. Yeah.
But wouldn't that be funny visual where it's like Halloween 2, Thanksgiving, and they're all at dinner. Michael Myers at dinner carving the turkey.
Well, when you brought that up, it helped me out to get me to the point I wanted to make. The big takeaway from this movie, for me, was the underlying thread was how evil affects people when they're exposed to it. And that is the one line of defense on adding the dumb doctor character, because it affected him in a different way. And it affected Laurie in a certain way. And Michael's the catalyst for all of it. So in a way, it's a little metaphor, not a big one.
Yeah.
It's a theme.
It's a theme. Thank you.
Theme. Anything else we haven't gotten to yet? As we, I feel like we've barely even like really dug in deep to any particular thing. But is there anything we haven't gotten to yet?
Can we talk about Michael's motives?
Yeah,
It was about the environment.
I hope not.
It's about being yourself.
Well, he's true to his nature.
Shoot your shot. He's like listening to Lin-Manuel Miranda and Hamilton.
He's true to himself. He read the books by Oprah.
Michael Myers. Michael Myers. Society.
I think if we're talking about his motivations. Want to comment, and since we're still kind of talking about the humor, the thing that got me, because I saw this twice, and I have to say, like I liked it more the second time. But the thing that really got me the second time that I chuckled, like not even chuckled, but like, you know, like a breath laugh, like a little snort at, but really got me the second time was Oscar, the fat friend.
You watched it twice?
Huh?
Yeah.
I saw it twice, yeah.
The devil kid, the devil.
Yeah.
When he's sitting there and
Costume.
he's looking at him and he goes, "You've ever gone after a girl, man, you just couldn't get
I
her."
love that line.
I
that was
lost
great.
it the second
Yeah,
time.
that was
I was
awesome.
like, that's doing it right. That's
good
Danny
writing.
McBride written all over that.
Yeah.
That was a good little line.
He had it coming. He had it
It was
coming.
great. But oops, sorry, dropped it.
There's something behind you.
But I agree with you.
Too spooky.
I agree with you, Aaron, about not only Michael's motivations. They muddled it, like they
Well,
weren't clear.
no,
and they
he-
also were. Huh? Go ahead.
I'm pretty convinced he's more or less random in his actions, but he has a code, and this movie
Well,
helped.
they made him random, but then they also made him.
What's his
want
code? He killed anybody.
Her.
You'll
He
notice
didn't kill the baby.
most
Maybe he would have.
in it.
He just was tired.
He didn't kill the baby. He just walked right on by.
But he stopped and listened. Like, should I kill it? No. Anywhere.
Exactly.
He made a decision.
choice.
And when the girl, when the daughter runs off in the woods, he doesn't chase after her.
Yeah, or kill her
and
in the car.
And that works into my little headcanon here. He only kills people that are being irresponsible.
Well, why
Like
was he
when
going to kill
teenager
Laurie
had-
Strode?
What?
Why was he going to kill
he,
Laurie
Yeah,
Strode?
he
the first
sees
time?
her smoking weed, I think.
But she-
No,
oh, yeah,
no.
okay.
According to the lore, it's like she came up to the house with the little kid, and it reminded him of his sister that he killed when he was a little kid.
That's one way to look at it, yeah.
And the little boy reminded him of him.
I mean, this is just headcanon stuff, but you'll notice that most of the time, at least 90%, anytime he kills somebody, it's because they were like teenagers having sex or smoking weed.
No,
Let me
that's
finish.
Jason.
That's Jason. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
This is just a horror trope. It happens in this too.
No, I think it's random.
You know what? I think you're right now.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I think
Well, I think it's an interesting point, but I think it's random. But I
I
could
don't-
be wrong.
well,
How could it
no,
be
no.
random if he doesn't kill the baby?
No, I don't think it's random.
There's
I
chance. Chance he didn't kill the baby.
No, no.
He looked at it and then didn't kill it.
There was an interview of the Iceman, that murderer, the Iceman I watched, and he was like,
Oh, yeah.
he talks about all the random murders he did of people, and he talked to ones he just said, nah, I just didn't want to kill. Like, he chose not to.
I was really full. I just had
it was just
Chipotle.
by chance he didn't. It's like Anton.
reflux.
It's like Anton Chigurh in
The coin flip, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just
Oh, yeah.
random. It's just it's scary random.
Like, I think it's both. I'm just trying to feed. It's why Michael's so interesting. We want to know why.
Well, I mean, I think one of the strongest parts of this movie is that it, as a sequel to the original, really, I feel like it's simultaneously a sequel and reboot. That it's,
Yeah.
I feel compelled like to see what happens because there's a good rivalry now. I feel like to answer your question about what is his motivations, I don't think it's totally random. I think his only motivation now is and I think it was very clearly established in this movie, is that he just wants to. His only mission is to kill Lori. Like that's his whole goal. Like he's always tracking down Lori. And she was like, I've prepared for this because I know he's going to come for me and my family. Like, I feel like that was very clear. They've set up the rivalry between the two of them. Now, this could go on like Rocky versus, like, it could go on forever. Like, it could go on until they, I don't know, not forever, obviously, but they could come up with creative ways to see, like, both of them getting their punches in each round and see who wins before the final match.
I say let's make a new movie. Let's make something different. I don't care anymore.
I don't know. I think this was great.
I thought it was a good movie,
I totally disagree.
I thought it was a good movie, but like,
No, I mean,
you know,
I think he means after this.
I think you're done. I'm not done.
I'll watch it.
Back in.
I'll watch it, but I'm not like, it's just Michael Myers.
See, if you had asked
It's
me
not going to feel
before,
the same as this one did.
if you had, see, I disagree. I
gonna
think
be like
it's
The
in good
Last
hands.
Jedi.
I think it's in good hands. If you had asked me before this movie came out, do you want another Halloween movie? Hell no, absolutely not. This movie comes out, they've set it up. It was and this is going to lead into the end of our podcast, but I thought it was a great movie. And it sets it up for more. Like, I'm interested. Like, it's a whole family.
No, I'm out of here. I'm out.
You're out?
No, forget it. I recommend this movie. It's a good movie. I thought it was good. I recommend it. I give it.
Are you kidding me?
I give it yeah, I'm done.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'm done. No! Stop!
Oh my God, Ben! He's dead. You've killed him. Why did you kill him, Matt?
Don't vote for Ernest.
He's gone.
Whoa.
Ben! Where did he go? Ben! You'd better not be in my bathroom, Ben!
As I fumble with my freaking headphone.
Where did he go?
Really a polished ending.
Hey, is it time to check on those votes?
There's only been one in the comments, so.
And who was it for?
It was just for Ernest.
Let's
I'm so depressed.
take a look at those votes. Are you ready?
Yeah, why don't we? So,
Wait a minute.
We can go back to the.
Ben's still not back.
And we're
Oh no, he's back.
this again.
Wesley, is there anything you can do to stop him?
Stop. Hey,
I felt really convinced.
You
by
did
now.
it. You did it.
hey now.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, okay. All right, let's wrap this up, and we can
Wait. Let's actually take a look. I have the page pulled up. Let's look at the vote, shall we? It could be anything. You don't know what wins.
I did the tally before I
You
came
did the
across
tally?
everything. Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, that's even like that's not accounting for all of them. It's even worse.
I'm so sorry, Matt.
It's even. God, no, you're even preempting it. Well, I guess it's over. This is hitting me right in the heart. I love Curb too. It's like, oh man.
I've used it against you. Oh boy.
Oh, all right. Well, fuck. So next week we're gonna be doing a shit movie.
Ernest!
We're God. I will say,
Michael seems
you can
enthused
have
about
through the. I will accept voting through the weekend, but it'll take like a Herculean effort.
Everybody vote for Ernest.
Let's talk about. Let's give our overall thoughts of the movie, and if we would recommend it for people, and if you had to rate it out of 10, what would you give it?
Okay. Michael, would you go first?
Yeah, let's go with.
I think he. Let him do his thing. Okay.
8
An
out of
8.
10
That's
for
a good
Michael
vote.
Myers.
A
It was
generous vote
one
from
of
a
his
psychopath.
better performances.
Yeah.
I'll go. I'll go. I would agree actually with you, Michael. I think it was an 8 out of 10. Like legitimately, I do.
Okay.
I don't think it transcended anything. I don't think it didn't.
Neither did the first one. That's the point.
It didn't go beyond what was in the. What's going on here? Yeah. So you did a great job. It was I think as we talked about before, I think it captured the tone of the original and built off of it. It had some of these, like, I don't know if it's necessarily feminist themes, but it had like a good family generational thing to build off of. Yeah, to build off of for future movies. And I thought the kills and the
I've seen feminist themes. This wasn't it.
Yeah, I don't think it I don't think it necessarily was.
Especially it says Ghostbusters.
And Jamie Lee Curtis was very good, but they played up the psychosis of her a little bit more than
again, how evil affects people.
Right. But yeah, I mean, it was a very well shot, well produced, effective movie that I want more of. Hopefully, I'll be alive until then.
All right. Well, my turn. I absolutely recommend this movie. I would give it a 7 out of 10. 7 stabs in the body out of 10. Thank you, Michael. I was hoping you would help me with that. And that's the same rating I would give the first movie. Actually, they're not terribly special on their own, but they're done in such a slick way that they're great. What? I missed it. I'm sorry.
Wesley, bring us home. What would you? How would you recommend or rate this movie?
I would give it generously. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Being really generous. It just feels bad giving it a 6.
Hi, Michael.
But to wrap up my feelings, I'd say I think it was a shoddily paced movie that had flashes of absolute brilliance. I think
fair assessment.
Huh? Yeah,
fair
and
assessment.
I think that the lack of a clear resolution really, like, it went out on a high note. But yeah, like I feel like she deserved that. You know, like I wanted this to be the last one too.
It can be,
unless you're going to reboot it entirely, which I don't want either. Just make something new. But yeah, I think it had had a little bit of a feel of a first draft script. But overall, like I really, really enjoyed it. Had issues, but I did think that it was about as good as you could have wished for.
Agreed.
Yeah, and it had that kind of Force Awakens feel to where like
it really rhymed, didn't it?
No, just like you've been waiting, like
so poetic,
like you didn't know you were waiting for it, kind of thing. Like once it got going, I was like it had the benefit of like 40 years of Michael Myers existing. You know what I mean?
Yes, agreed.
So that was a big kick in the balls for it. Like that helped a lot.
Still, great movie. Everyone go see it.
Yeah.
Good horror movie. Ben is having
good
too
movie.
much fun.
Just
with
good
that.
movie.
Pretty women dancing.
I hope that Mike's picking it up.
It is.
That's horrible. This is the podcast now. This is what we're doing.
Do I end us while the ending's good?
Yeah, let's.
Are you gonna set
probably
the whole
should
room
have.
on
You probably
fire?
should have just got it. No. So this was Halloween.
This is Halloween.
This is Halloween. So we've got one more. We've got one more podcast for Spook of Madness. We got it next week. It almost inevitably it's gonna be Ernest Scared Stupid because you all are stupid. But we've got one more, and I think it'll bring us home with this whole month of spooky movies.
Perhaps we can do like a 5-minute Shining at the end of that.
Like for the other ones, please, to get it out of my system.
Throw you a bone.
Yeah. But thank you, Wesley, for coming on yet again during Spook of Madness. It was awesome to have you on for this Halloween for our new movie. And
hey, now we get to see what it looks like without the green screen.
We'll just turn it off. I'm
turning it off now. Bye-bye.
Bye.